Welcome back to Anything is Possible. I'm Tamara and I live at Lake Chapala in Jalisco, Mexico. Today I am going to do a little bit of work at my new place that I rented, and I thought you might be interested in see what I'm doing. I have an electrician coming tomorrow to talk to me about getting the place grounded and getting GFCI in the kitchen, bathroom, and laundry areas where there is water, and it minimizes the risk of getting electrocuted. So I walk in the door with a load of stuff to put on the kitchen counter, and I found just a lake of water on the kitchen floor. So I am going to need to get a plumber in here and work on the plumbing and the kitchen sink. Seeing as how this is now my responsibility before the ink is even dry on the contract. I knew there was problems under the sink, but I just thought, well, it's dry now, it's probably taken care of, but apparently not. So I need to get a plumber in and get all of that really tightened up, and so I don't have that problem again. I feel I'm trying to get it dried out because the electrician's coming tomorrow, probably just for an estimate, not to actually do any work, but still just going through and having the floors wet is not a good thing. So when you're dealing with electricity. Well, I don't know if you can see this, but it's leaking all around the toilet too. Well, this is going to be fun. Well, at least I discovered all this stuff now. You know, back in the old days, when I lived in Oregon and California, for decades, I was a real do-it-yourselfer. There's no way I would have paid anybody, plumber, to come in and take care of that leak under the kitchen sink or the toilet leak in the bathroom. I would have gotten in there and figured it out myself. But you know what? You know, that's one of the great things about living in Mexico, is that there are people eager to come and help you with your problems. There's a few that are overloaded and they just don't seem to get back to you for whatever reason when you need help. But if you post on Facebook, one of the local groups, that you know, you need to find a good plumber, or you just search on there for a good plumber, there's people with recommendations, and quite honestly, have a handful of people that you can call and they'll be really good. And so what I did was I actually found a local man who, and I do like to say that I would much rather hire a Mexican, but this guy was either from the United States or Canada, I'm not sure which, but since I have to have electrical work done, he's kind of a one-stop shop. He was a contractor his whole career, and he's retired now, but not really. He's just kind of set limits on how much he'll work. And he saw a post that I made, and he offered to come out and do the work that I need on the electrical for the GFCI and grounding. And he says, you know, you can call somebody else, but you'll probably end up calling me anyway, because it won't be done by the kind of code that you would expect. He knows and always had to work to either U.S. or Canadian electrical codes and plumbing codes. And a lot of the guys around here are kind of self-taught, and they've learned how to kind of make things work, but they don't really always work. And I'm just looking at the plumbing situation under that sink. I could tell that there was some things that weren't right, and he walked into the bathroom when he saw the bathroom leak, and he just pulled the drain right out from the wall. He goes, this is not right. You know, if it gets plugged, that will come out of the wall, and you'll have sewage all over your bathroom. And, you know, in about 5 minutes he figured out what that leak was. It actually appears that it was the hose that was filling the toilet was aiming wrong, and it was hitting the top lid of the toilet and spraying, and then causing the water to leak out the side, down the tank onto the floor. You know, and that was after he mopped up the water and looked, and he goes, it's not seeping out from underneath the toilet. And it didn't appear to be leaking from the tank, bottom of the tank. So that's when he started thinking, what else could it be? So he's a real good problem solver, and I'm happy I found him, and I decided to just go with him to do the electrical too. He's got a crew of Mexicans that do all the plaster and masonry work that needs to be done in any of the jobs he has, and so I'm going to probably, I don't know if he probably doesn't do painting either, but you know, he's kind of does contract work here. He only works afternoons and he doesn't work evenings, so you know, he's a little harder to get hold of, but I'm real happy that I found somebody that will actually fix things to code, and I know that once it's fixed, it'll stay fixed. So I hate to say it, but that's the route I'm going to go, just to make sure that I don't have to revisit any of the electrical or the water problems in this house. I've gotten some test colors. This is kind of the color I'm thinking of painting the walls, and I'll pan around and you can see what it looks like with my lavender couch that I got. I'm shopping word of mouth from friends and Facebook Marketplace and the local bazaars and wherever I can find good quality used furniture. And since I have time, I can just sort of keep my eyes open and grab stuff when I see it. But I do have the lavender couch, and at the same place they have a bright turquoise side chair, and I'm probably going to go back and get that. So those are the two really bright colors that I'm dealing with in the living room, and I wanted to kind of wait to get the wall color nailed down until I had a little bit of stuff in here. So that, and then there's some planter boxes in the back that I thought I might as well start working on those. I don't want to get a whole lot of plants going here. This is the hottest time of year, April and May, and I'm thinking May is going to be really, really kind of very hot and very dry, and then June the rains start and things cool down again. But working out in the garden right now is not really a whole lot of fun. So I am mostly going to focus on getting the things I need done inside the house. And then once June comes and the rains come, it's a good time to start getting things in the ground where the rain will be naturally watering them and getting the garden established rather than having to come over here and water with a hose. Another thing that's really interesting, at least in this area, is what I learned was between like 9 to 5 is when the water that runs through the water system here in this San Antonio area, they fill up the tinacos while people are away at work and not doing a whole lot. So the water pressure is very low during the day, and then at night, you know, after 5 or before 9 in the morning, the water pressure is like 3 times as much. So if you have to water during the middle of the day, you just kind of get a little trickle, which is okay to just sort of turn it on and let it, you know, kind of soak into the ground around some of the plants. But if you really want to get watering done, it's really slow. So those are all reasons why I'm putting off planting the garden right now. I can kind of plan it and think about it, but anyway. So I'll show you what I'm doing in terms of colors and a little bit about the different companies around that I've seen that have paint, trying to get paint samples. It's kind of interesting process. So here is my purple couch, and I am thinking of painting the walls this almost kind of a rosy mustard color. I was going to do more yellow, and then I had them at a little bit more red, and ended up being kind of a custom color. And going to be turquoise inside of the arches. My friend and neighbor suggested that I get large pieces of paper and I can move it around in the house and see how the color looks on different walls. So that's what I did. I'm just trying to find colors. Please ignore this blue tape. I forgot to bring my beige masking tape, but I'm trying to find colors to paint the inside of the arches. This is Sherwin-Williams colors, and I have to say they all seem pretty grayish to me. This is probably the closest to what I was thinking of. Kind of a bright turquoise, but it's still kind of grayish. So then near me also at my old place, there's a Sayer paint store, and they didn't really have the full palette of colors. I don't know what their deal is. Out front they had a board that had every paint color available, but they had no paint sample chips that you could take. All they had was this brochure, and so I picked this up, but this is more of a true blue, not turquoisey as I really wanted. So I don't think that's going to hack it either. And then I stopped by Tooltown in Ahiheek, and they had no paint samples whatsoever or brochures. They have cast their paints, and so I took a picture of their board, and I'm going to see if that one of those colors is kind of what I'm looking for. I might just go back to the Sherwin-Williams, because that's what this gold color, they actually custom mixed that color for me. And ask them to not put quite so much of the black. There's two of these planter boxes right off the patio here, one on either side of the arch to the backyard, and I am going to dig out these pebbles, and I got some potting mix that I'm going to put in there and kind of start getting that saturated. And I have some plants that I'm thinking of putting in here, probably something higher on the sides, but mostly low growing, so when I'm sitting on the patio back here, I can look out at the backyard. So I have some lemongrass I'm probably going to plant there, and that way it's supposed to kind of ward off mosquitoes. It's where citronella is actually derived from. A lot of people use, it's a variety of geranium that they call citronella, but that is actually not where it's the citronella that you use to repel mosquitoes. That is actually derived from lemongrass, so that's what I am going to do. wraps it up for this week. I just wanted to show you a little bit of what happens here in Mexico when you sign a rental agreement. Basically, you are taking on generally the responsibility for any minor repairs. I did get it in my contract that anything over 1,000 pesos is the responsibility of the owner. But repairs are, and basic construction here is so inexpensive that it would have to be something pretty major before the actual owner would take responsibility for. So it's up to me to fix this stuff. And the electrical, they may end up kind of ruining the paint, and if they do something to the electrical boxes or the switches or take off the electrical panel, it could chip the paint. So I'm just going to wait to do all the painting until the electrical's done, and that won't be for another week and a half or so. That's when he could fit me in. So I'm glad I've got plenty of time to deal with here, and it gives me time to select my paint colors and, work on other things, continue to kind of shop for furniture as I can. But again, you got to figure out time-wise how things go. I don't really want to fill the place up with furniture that I need to protect from the paint. So anyway, I'm trying to dissuade my little foster dog here from watching the cat. He's terrible about chasing cats. This is Tomas, and he's my little foster dog right now. He's got adopted, and he'll be flying up to California in the beginning of May. He's got a flight angel, so he was a little street dog in Chapala, and he's found himself a home. He just wants to go after the cat like crazy, though. I have to keep everybody separate here because he's just awful. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you join me again next week on an exciting episode. I'm not sure what I'm going to cover next week. It's always kind of up in the air, but I will see you next time. Hope you have a great week, and I will see you later. Bye.